All right, what's up, all you fantasy folks and pick'em persons out there? Welcome to Week 16 of the NFL season and your Week 16 pick'em and fantasy video from your boy HawkDog25. That's right. Let's go over last week. Last week was poor. If my picks were like on a scale monetarily, like earnings, they would need welfare. They were that bad. Unfortunately, I mean, my win-loss was really good, but as far as picking against the spread, terrible. Terrible indeed. I was 14-2 with the win-loss. And then I was 6-10 versus the spread. So I brings me 93-55 win-loss, which doesn't really matter because we're going against the spread. It's where you make all the money. And I'm 67-81. And trying to become 500 would be nice, but I need some seriously big weeks. I'm down 14, so that means I'd have to be +7 each week, which is 12-4, or yeah, I'd have to go 12-4, and then like 11-5, which would be great. It'd be real nice, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I do have the first pick right this week. I did pick the Jaguars over the Titans. The Titans are just terrible. But as always, we're going to use the TWI index 0 to 200 scale. And I had the Jaguars favored 104-96 in this scale. And the Jaguars they had the better defense. They had the better run game. And they just had the better talent on the offensive side. I mean, the quarterbacks are kind of like, Charlie Whitehurst, Blake Bortles, yeah. But they both sucked. But as far as overall talent of the team, the Jaguars had the better talent, if you can believe that. And yeah, so I picked that game right. Obviously, Jaguars won 21-10, but I did not pick up any fantasy people in that game. I almost picked up Toby Gerhardt. He ended up getting like 11 points, but God, it's just, those teams are so bad that you can't assume anybody's going to do really good. Like 15 points would be very good for somebody. And some running back for the Jaguars got like 14 points, but nobody have ever heard of him. He had like a 62-yard touchdown run. It's like, where'd this come from? Anyways, let's not dwell too much on that game. Let's go to the next game. San Francisco 49ers at home, favored by 2.5 points against the San Diego Chargers. And I am in a couple serious games. But one, I am starting Mark Sanchez over Phillip Rivers just because Sanchez is going against Washington. And then in that other one, I have Kyle Orton or Phillip Rivers in the championship game. And it's like, God, both these QBs, they're not that great. I mean, Rivers is okay, but he's going against San Francisco, which have they given up on the season? I might just go Rivers. And then I got Heath Miller and Zach Ertz that I'm trying to like weigh against. It's like, well, Ertz has more upside. Miller, is going to be decent. You think he's going to be a safety outlet for Roethlisberger, but, it's like, I don't know. I might go Rivers and Ertz. I don't know. We'll see. I got like 2 minutes to figure that out because right now it's Friday night and the Chargers play tomorrow night on Saturday. So, but in this game, I'm going to go with the Chargers. The 49ers are just reeling. I wouldn't choose anybody on their offense. Their defense is not that good. They just lost Borland. Their linebackers scored. They lost McDonald. They cut him. So that team is just in disarray. Harbaugh is probably on his way out, and I think the team is just giving up at this point, unfortunately. So, but I do laugh in Kaepernick's face that they're doing bad. That's what you get for beating the Packers the last couple of years. It was all the defense. It wasn't you. Anyways, Chargers that game. Next game, Washington Redskins at home. Underdogs by 8.5 points against the Philadelphia Eagles. I need Sanchez to throw like 4 touchdowns and run for 2 more. So I can lock up third place and get some serious cash in my pocket in the consolation game. But Eagles favored 126-74. And I am going to go with the Eagles. I feel like Sanchez, McCoy, Matthews, and Macklin are just too much for the Redskins, which is basically RG3, which doesn't have much talent. Deshaun Jackson, yeah, he might have a revenge game, blah, blah, blah. But other than that, Pierre Garçon has disappeared, Jordan Reed has disappeared, Alfred Morris has disappeared. I mean, that team is just in disarray. So I got the Eagles winning and covering. Oh, and a side note, I did get 12 right with against the spread with the TWI index last week. So all these picks, except for 2 of them, are going to go with the TWI this week, because I got to have faith in it, because I've not been picking well without it, unfortunately. So our 4th game, Miami Dolphins at home, favored by 6.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings were up 14-0 on the Lions last week and then ended up losing 16-14. How do you not put up a field goal in the last 3 quarters of the game? I just don't understand. And defense played well. They started off hot, had a big punt return, and Bridgewater was doing well, and then they just stagnant. It was just, they didn't have a running game, and they just didn't move the ball at all. And the Lions came back again for like the 5th time this year, and it's like, when you face a good team in the playoffs, the Lions, I'm speaking from the Lions' perspective, they're not gonna come back against that quality of a team. So I think the Vikings just laid a dud, just like the Falcons did, just like New Orleans did, just like the Dolphins did. You know, they brought them back. They let them into the game. Anyways, I got the Dolphins winning and covering this game. TWI 111.89. I feel like Tannehill, Mike Wallace, and that defense at home is going to be too much for, I guess, Bridgewater, Jennings, and Charles Johnson, who has really started to emerge in the Vikings. So, Dolphins that one. Next game, I got the Texans at home against the Ravens. Ravens favored by 4.5, ending the TWI 108.92. 54% favorites. I got the Ravens winning and covering this game. I think even with Arian Foster healthy, their QB situation with Fitzpatrick going down, it's, you know, the Ravens are just going to bank on the run. You're like, beat us with your arm. And it ain't going to happen because the Ravens defense is so good. So you got Forsett, you got Steve Smith, you got Owen Daniels, Torrey Smith, and you know, Flacco managing the game. I think they're going to win by a touchdown fairly easily in Houston this week. Next game, the Bears are terrible against the Lions. We're going to go Lions. Doesn't matter the spread. Clausen's starting. Cutler's benched. That defense sucks. The offensive line sucks for the Bears. The defensive line for the Lions is just going to tear them up. So I got the Lions in this one. I think they're going to win by 2 touchdowns. Clausen's going to hand the ball off to Forte. Hopefully he gets quite a bit of yards and touchdown, because I have him in one of my fantasy leagues. But then I'm also going against him in my championship game. So it's like, I need him to get a decent amount of points, but not too many points. Like 15 points would be all right. It's one of those catch-22s. Anyways, I got the Lions in that game. Next game, Carolina Panthers at home against the Cleveland Browns. And we saw what Johnny Manziel did or / couldn't do last week against my Bengals. Wow, he looked bad. So I'm picking up the Panthers defense in both of my games this week, figuring Manziel on the road, first time on the road, first start on the road against Carolina, which has a defense that is picking up in the past couple weeks. They're going to sack him. They're going to force him into some more interceptions. And I believe the Panthers are going to win and cover this game, even though the Browns are favored in the TWI. But that TWI is a season long and past like 5-6 weeks long compared to, you know, just last week. Based on just last week, I don't want to put him in the dumps based on just last week, but Manziel, he's finding out the hard way that the quality in the NFL and the speed of the players is not the same as, you know, the SEC games. You know, I mean, you beat up on Arkansas, okay, great. You beat up on Auburn, okay, yeah, that's one thing. You win a game against Alabama, okay, but I mean, Alabama's gonna lose to Jacksonville for sure. You know, that's just how it is. So I got the Saints winning, covering, not the Saints, the Panthers winning, covering this game. The next game, I have the Saints winning and covering. They're favored by 6.5 at home against the Atlanta Falcons. It looks like Julio Jones might not play. I picked up Harry Douglas. I'm going to start him in one league. And the guy I'm going against in my championship game has all three. He's got Harry Douglas, he's got Roddy White, and he's got Julio Jones. So I hope Roddy's hurt and Julio's hurt, and he starts Harry Douglas, and Harry Douglas puts up maybe like 10 points or something, because I can definitely beat that, because I got stack loads of receivers on my other team. which is why I have to start either Rivers or Orton, because I got all receivers. I got Jamal Charles, Joique Bell, and then I have Jordy Nelson, Emmanuel Sanders, and Kelvin Benjamin as my receivers. So I think I've been looking pretty good there. But I got the Saints winning and covering this game for sure. Next game, Buccaneers at home against our Green Bay Packers. Blue puts her fist up in the air. She's working. She can't participate this week, but she does pick the Packers. You gotta say yes.
Yep.
Okay, she said yes. As well as I'm picking yes as well. I mean, besides Mike Evans and maybe Doug Martin if he has a good game, there is nothing on that team. I mean, the Buccaneers' back end is pretty good. But I know Rodgers is not going to put up another poor performance. The receiving core is not going to put up another poor performance. I was so mad when Jordy Nelson dropped that 94-yard touchdown, would-be 94-yard touchdown. I mean, how do you short-arm that? It was like in his breadbasket. It's like, it was just the game that everything went wrong for the Packers on all sides of the ball. I mean, the defense played pretty well. But the special teams allowed that punt return. All sides of the ball. It was just a horrible game. That was the worst game they could play, and they were still in it on the last drive until the fumble. I mean, that just shows the quality of this team. If they play 60% of their potential, they're going to win by 2 touchdowns on Sunday. It's going to be like 28-14. Because I think they're going to be in McCown's face, and they're going to blanket Evans. They're going to try and say, hey, beat us with Doug Martin, or, try and beat us with your Vincent Jackson and Austin Seferius Jenkins, their tight end, which ain't going to happen. So Packers win, cover for sure. Next game, Pittsburgh Steelers at home against Kansas City Chiefs. TWI favored the Chiefs 120-179. Steelers are favored by 3. I like the Chiefs in this game. I think the grinded out game that they have, Jamal Charles is healthy enough. And I think they're going to limit the receivers of the Steelers. Antonio Brown's going to get his 100 yards, but Martavis Bryant is going to dominate. Heath Miller will probably get some catches, and they're going to try and shore up Le'Veon Bell, and say, hey, beat us through the air. We're going to double Antonio Brown, so you're going to have to do what you need to do, Roethlisberger, over the top of us in order to win, and we're going to have 2 people over the top at all times. So I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. I think the Steelers, they've lost to some terrible teams this year, and they're going to lose to a good team this week. So I got the Chiefs in this game. Next game, Jets at home against the Patriots. Patriots favored by 10. Heavily favored in the TWI, obviously. I got the Patriots in this game. I got LaFell going. I got Julian Edelman on my bench. He's coming off like a concussion or something like that, so I kind of don't want to start him. Concussion and like a knee. It's like twofer. So I hope he kind of doesn't go, so LaFell gets more points or more snaps and more looks. But, I mean, Patriots are going to dominate. Rex Ryan wants to beat the Patriots, obviously, because he's with the Jets. It's probably his last game against the Patriots as the Jets head coach, so he might want to go out on top. But I think the Patriots are just rolling. It's a different team than when they met like 3-4 weeks ago, or actually like 10 weeks ago when I started this, I believe, or maybe it was 8 weeks ago. But I think the Patriots are going to dominate. Jets, I don't know. I probably wouldn't start anybody on that team. Maybe Percy Harvin, I guess, if you really had to like stretch for a flex option. But Patriots, Gronk, LaFell, and then running backs you just don't know. But I'd go with the defense of the Patriots as well. Next game, Rams at home against the New York Giants. Eli Manning led me through the semifinals into the championship game, but I am not starting Eli Manning this week, not against the Rams, and only with Odell Beckham catching passes. I think the Rams are going to blanket them. The Rams are going to stomp them. They're going to force probably 2-3 turnovers from Eli, and I think the Rams are going to win and cover. They're going to game manage. They're going to use Trey Mason to its extent. Kenny Britt's picking up, and then also Jared Cook. So And then Tavon Austin, punt return. That's high probability of that as well. So I got the Rams winning and covering the 5 points in this game. Then we got the Raiders at home against the Bills. Bills favored by 6, which is very high because the Bills have not been a high-scoring offense as of late. They were against, I guess, the Jets, but it is the Jets. I do have the Bills winning and covering. I don't know if I want to start Orton. I think it's going to be a lot of Fred Jackson and a lot of dink and dunk and stuff like that. And David Carr is going to make some mistakes. Or Derek Carr. One of the Carr brothers for the Raiders. He's going to make some mistakes. So I got the Bills defense. Special teams going to be big in this. For the Raiders, maybe the tight end. And, maybe Latavius Murray. That'd be the only 2 people I go with. But I think the Bills are going to rely heavily on stopping that run. And it's going to be a lot of Carr trying to go over the top of the defense of the Bills. But I think the Bills are going to win and cover this game. Next game, Cowboys at home against the Indianapolis Colts. This is a big game. Colts favored 126-74 in the TWI. I was surprised they're favored that heavily, but the Cowboys have not been the best on the road or at home this year at covering the spread. Colts have been doing well. I think this is going to be a shootout. I hope so because I need Adam Vinatieri. Actually, I hope it's not a shootout because I'm going against like 4 Colts in my consolation game. He's got T.Y. Hilton. He's got Boone Heron. He has the Colts defense, and he also has T.Y. Hilton. So he's got 4 players. So I hope the Colts only put up like 21 points, and somehow 2 of those touchdowns are on defense, or not on defense. 2 of those touchdowns are handoffs to Trent Richardson or something. But we'll see. But I got the Colts winning and covering this game. I just hope they don't get too many points. So hopefully I can win 3rd place there in that league. Cowboys start Dez, Romo, and coming off hand surgery. I don't know about DeMarco Murray. If he doesn't go, try and pick up Randall. Hopefully have Randall on his bench. But those 3 guys, and I am starting Witten because I think this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. So I hope Witten gets some looks as well. So moving on to the Sunday night game, Cardinals at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks have just been on a tear lately, but not on an offensive tear. They've only been scoring like 20, 24 points a game. They've been allowing 10 to 14. And with the Cardinals defense, what are the Seahawks really going to do? I mean, it's going to be a defensive battle. It's going to be like 17 to 10. Kind of like last week with the Seahawks Niners. And I think the Cardinals will lose, but the Seahawks won't cover the spread. So I got the Cardinals covering the spread, as you can see in the TWI 101-99. It is like basically a coin flip. But I think the spread is just too much. The Cardinals will hang in there, and Bruce Arians will definitely coach equally as good as Pete Carroll, and it'll be a close game with the Seahawks prevailing with the win. Hopefully the Cardinals will win. That'd be nice. That'd be good for the Packers. Then the Monday night game, my Bengals at home against the Broncos. I got the Broncos in this one. 3.5 points. I mean, the Bengals on prime time. I've heard this from a few different sportscasters and fantasy football people. The Bengals in prime time are just bad. Andy Dalton is just bad. Like, you go back to any playoff Monday night, Thursday night, Sunday night game, and they have not won any of those in like the last 3 years. They just do bad. I mean, Andy Dalton's 2 quarterback rating against the Browns was a Thursday night high profile game, and it just looked terrible. Just absolutely terrible. And I think I started him that day too. It is like, wow, that away Dalton. Yeah, the Red Rocket, more like the Red Dud. I mean, it looked terrible. But I got the Broncos. I got Emmanuel Sanders on my fantasy. Need him to catch some passes. I think Peyton Manning will definitely come out of his shell a little bit. Jeremy Hill is a good start for the Bengals. AJ Green. I'd go any of the Thomases for the Broncos, and Emmanuel. CJ Anderson for sure. They're going to hand the ball off a lot like they've been the last couple weeks. They've been riding his shoulders, and that's what makes this team very dangerous. The Broncos won the 2 Super Bowls. against my Packers, and then against the Falcons in '98. They relied on Terrell Davis, 2,000-yard rusher, and like a 1,500-yard rusher the year before. I mean, he's just a beast. So C.J. Anderson kind of reminds me of that team. You got a good quarterback, a great quarterback like Elway, and then a good, strong running game. So, I mean, they can pose some serious problems in New England in the playoffs, especially if Anderson keeps running the way he is. So, those are our picks this week. Leave your picks in the comments below. Leave your fantasy questions for me. This will be coming out on Saturday because we have Saturday games. So, good luck in your championship games if you have them. And we will see you afterwards, and also bid me some good luck too for my third place in championship game. I need to make a little bit of cash here for this season. It's been a lot of work, so I need some reward. Anyways, like, comment, and we'll see you next time.